Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
William Conrad stars in an episode of Gunsmoke. We go back to September 24th, 1955. This episode is about a white boy who was raised as an Indian. Episode entitled Indian White.
Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful. And a little lonely. You got the time, Chester?
Why, Mr. Dillon?
Why? I'd just like to know what time it is, that's all.
Well, yes, sir, I figured that. But I wondered how important it is.
Well, it isn't this important, Chester, believe me.
Well, see, if it was, I could run over to Mr. Hightower's and find out.
Mr. Hightower?
Yes, sir. His watch broke down, and he sent it to St. Louis to get fixed, so I'd give him the loan of mine. But I can still go in and look at it whenever I need to.
Oh, well, that's a very good arrangement, Chester.
Yes, sir. I figured time's a whole lot more important to a man like him than 'tis to me. It ain't but seldom it matters none one way or the other where I'm concerned. You understand?
Oh, I surely do. Yes, I do. I understand, Chester. Yeah.
Why did you want to know, Mr. Dillon? I mean, about what time?
You're making me sorry I asked, Chester, but I'm supposed to meet a man at the Dodge House at 2 o'clock.
Oh, well, it ain't nowheres near 2 o'clock yet.
Well, how do you know?
The sun. It lacks 15 minutes of being 2 o'clock.
Chester.
Yes, sir?
Why don't you sell that watch to Mr. Hightower?
Oh, I wouldn't want to sell that watch. My Uncle Arthur gave me that watch, Mr. Dillon. He got it from a fellow on the
Now,
upper
get
right
out
hand.
and stay out. And don't you come back in this door ever again.
Mr. Jonas.
Don't talk back to me now. Now, just get.
What's that Indian kid up to now?
I told you he's not an Indian. Hey, boy! Hey, boy!
Oh, look at him go. He ain't waiting for nobody.
Look, Chester, there'll be a man called Davis waiting for me at the Dodge House. Will you go tell him I'll be along directly?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hello, Marshal. For a minute there, I thought it was that Indian kid back.
He ran on down the street, Mr. Jonas.
You ought to do something about him, Marshal.
Oh, why?
Well, you heard about them Cheyenne busting out of Fort Dodge yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, I heard.
Well, wait till they massacre some people around here. Then what'll folks think of that boy running loose?
Why should they think anything?
He's an Indian, ain't he? He's a Cheyenne?
No. His name's Cullen, and he's white.
The Army found him with them Indians, didn't they?
The Indians stole him from Miss Cullen 8 years ago, down on the Medicine River. You know that.
I don't know it. Now, I hear it ain't her kid at all. He sure don't look like her.
Why did you throw him out of here, Mr. Jonas?
He was trying to buy ammunition for his Sharp's rifle.
What?
Said Miss Cullen one. Now, you know that's a lie. I'm telling you, Marshal, What with them Cheyenne loose, it ain't safe having a boy like that around. You ought to lock him up.
He's not supplying the Cheyenne, Jonas, and don't worry about them. Colonel Honeyman's got 2 troops out after him.
You'll never catch him again. And I mean it about that boy, Marshal. You better lock him up before somebody knocks his brains out. There's a lot of talk about him.
Well, I don't want to hear any more of it. That boy's got a hard enough time ahead of him as it is.
Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, what, Chester?
That Indian kid, he's starting a fight with some man.
What?
Yes, sir. Right in front of the Dodge house. And, Mr. Dillon, that little boy's got a knife as long as his arm.
Who is that man, Chester?
I never seen him before, but I hear he's been plaguing that boy lately.
So the boy came looking for him with a knife, huh?
Hey, that man's got a knife out now.
All right, hold it, mister.
Let him alone,
Get out of
Marshal.
my way, please. Move aside there. All right, drop the knife, mister.
Not hardly.
Drop it.
No. His kid's been asking for it. He started this.
What's the matter with you, fighting a boy?
Dirty little savage.
Grab the boy, Chester.
That's where I got him.
All right, drop the knife, mister.
He cut me. You saw him. I'll open him up like a melon.
No, you won't.
What's the matter with you, Marshal?
I'll keep this knife. And if you're hurt so bad, go see Doc.
You're going to wish you hadn't mixed in this.
Am I? All right, I'll take the boy's knife, Chester.
Here he is.
All right, son. You come with me. I'm going to take you home before you kill somebody.
September 24th, 1955, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Has someone in your family lost a job recently, and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? We can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents or having to waste time showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your house to foreclosure. If you have equity in your home, we'll buy your home and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call now before your situation gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just need anymore and get the cash you need today. Call this number now.
800-477-4612. 800-477-4612. 800-477-4612. That's 800-477-4612. Paid for by Want to Sell.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of Gunsmoke, Indian White, from September 24th, 1955.
You want to talk about it, son?
Name Viho Khan.
Viho Khan, huh? Does that mean something in Cheyenne?
It mean white boy.
Oh, I see. Well, Viho Khan, you want to tell me why you fought that man?
Man talk bad to me. Hit me in mouth. Kick me. Different man give me big knife. Then I fight. You stop or I'll kill him. Make big coup.
You're not a brave, Viho Khan. You're not an Indian. You're white. You gotta remember that.
Viho Khan have many Indian brothers.
Ah, but you're home now. You're living among white men. You have a white mother. And you gotta stop thinking like an Indian or you're gonna get into real trouble.
Mrs. Cullen talk hard at Viho Khan for fight. No understand.
Ah, she'll understand, all right. That's why I came home with you. Now, let's go in and I'll tell her that it wasn't your fault.
that you, Dennis? Where have you been? Oh, Marshal Dillon. Come in.
Hello, Miss Cullen.
You came home with Dennis? Name Viho Khan. No Dennis. Please, Dennis. Let's don't argue that now. And look at you. Where are your shoes? Nowhere shoes. Your shirt. What made you such nice shirts? You can't run around in nothing but a pair of pants. Oh, you'll be the death of me yet, Marshal. No do harm to you. Oh, I know that, Dennis. You just don't understand yet, do you? You go to your room now and put on those shoes the soldiers give you. And a shirt, too, a nice blue shirt, I go. And take that arrow point out of your hair. Sit down, Marshal.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
It's not easy. A woman of 40, a widow, raising a boy like that.
No, ma'am, I know.
But I want to. And I've got to.
What? What do you mean, Miss Cullen?
He's a white boy. Anybody can see that. But he isn't mine, Marshal.
What?
I knew he wasn't the first day I went to Fort Dodge to see him. He's not my son. But he's the same age, and I've given him the same name, and I treat him just like he was. No, he won't suffer for lack of a mother's love, I promise that.
I'm sure he won't, ma'am.
Why did you bring him home, Marshal?
You heard about the Cheyennes, the band he was taken with.
They broken out of Fort Dodge.
Well, the boys heard it too, Miss Cullen.
Why do you say that?
Ma'am, you own a Sharp's rifle?
Well, yes. It was Mr. Cullen's. The very one he died fighting with on the Medicine River. But why?
Well, Dennis tried to buy ammunition for it today.
What?
Mr. Jonas thinks he's planning to help those Indians.
But how? What could he do?
I don't know. But until they're rounded up again, a lot of people in Dodge are going to be pretty jumpy. Some of them have already caused trouble for the boy.
They have.
He got into a fight with a grown man today. And he cut him up some.
No.
Wasn't his fault, Miss Cullen, but well, that's the sort of thing that can happen more and more.
If you're saying I should give him up, I won't.
Well, no, ma'am.
He needs his own people. He needs a mother, just like my own boy needs one. If he's still alive somewhere.
All I'm saying, ma'am, is that you got to keep him here at the house till that scare about the Cheyenne is over. If you let him run around town, I'm going to have to lock him up for his own protection.
Mr. Dillon?
Oh, that's Chester.
Come in, Chester.
Thank you.
Why, Colonel Honeyman.
I'm sorry to intrude, ma'am. Hello, Marshal.
Colonel?
I'd like to talk to the boy, Mrs. Cullen.
Talk to him.
Was there something wrong, Colonel?
You know who Little Wolf is?
He's chief of the Cheyenne on the Darlington Reservation, isn't he?
They were at Darlington. We just had word they've broken out and are headed this way. 300 of them.
Oh, I see.
Obviously, they're coming to meet the Indians who escaped Fort Dodge yesterday.
What does this have to do with your wanting to talk to Dennis, Colonel?
I want him to tell me where their point of rendezvous is.
How would Dennis know?
Well, Indians scatter when they're being pursued, Mrs. Cullen. They secretly regroup at a given point later, and every man, woman, and child of them knows well in advance where that point is.
But Dennis isn't... I'll call him. Dennis? Dennis? You call V.O. Khan? Please, son. It's Dennis now. Come in here. Colonel Honeyman wants to talk to you.
Hello, boy.
Soldier? Want to talk with me?
Yes. Tell me, do you know Little Wolf?
Little Wolf Chief. Good chief.
He was maybe, but he's done a bad thing now.
No.
He left reservation. He's going to join Long Knife.
Long Knife, my chief. Dennis, don't say that.
Let him talk, Miss Cullen.
Long Knife escape.
Yes. He and the others you were with burned their barracks at Fort Dodge and killed 3 soldiers.
Viho Khan, no.
Well, I'm sure you do. And you also know where Long Knife is meeting Little Wolf and his people. If you tell me you'll save lives, Viho Khan, not only of those soldiers, but of those of your people, too.
Colonel.
Please, Miss Cullen.
Tell me, Viho Khan.
Dennis not no meeting place.
Well, you can't beat it out of him, Colonel.
No. Well, I'm sorry to have bothered you, Mrs. Cullen. Bye.
I'll go with you, Colonel. Miss Cullen, will you remember what I said?
I'll keep an eye on him, Marshal.
Fine.
Goodbye.
Miss Cullen.
Chester.
That was a waste of time.
Well, what are your plans now, Colonel?
Plans? Marshal, I was down to half strength when Long Knife broke out. And now, with 2 troops after him, I haven't enough men left for the post-fatigue detachments, let alone to scout the country.
You, want civilian help?
No. It'd only end in a massacre of some kind. So, I'll have to do the best I can.
Well, good luck.
Yeah. Oh, that boy could have helped. Yeah, you better keep a close watch on him, Marshal. Well, let's get back to the fort, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, what, Chester?
I've been thinking. If the Army had left them Indians alone in the first place, they wouldn't be in all this trouble.
Yeah. But that's not for us to decide. All right, let's go.
Well, now, Kitty, how about you? More coffee?
No thanks, Doc.
You, Matt?
Yeah, I think I'll have some, Doc, just a little.
Good.
You know, that coffee's 3 parts chicory and 1 part lye.
That's why it needs a little cream, Kitty. It softens it a bit.
Kind of hard on the cream.
Yeah, we should have gone up to my office. I'd have made us some real coffee.
Now, why didn't you ask us up to supper, Doc?
Oh, so I said coffee, not a whole meal.
Oh, I'd have cooked it, Doc.
Oh, on that stove of mine, you would have. Huh?
Yeah. You know I learned to cook on an open fire?
You did?
Not out in the prairie, in a fireplace. We couldn't afford a stove. In fact, we couldn't afford much of anything we couldn't pick up off the ground.
Well, you're rich now.
Oh, sure. Marshal.
Miss Cullen. What's the trouble?
He's gone, Marshal.
What?
Dennis, he's gone.
Well, gone where?
I don't know.
Well, where did you see him last?
After supper. We ate early, and then I had a talk with him. I told him how much I love him and how I need him. And then I told him about how people in Dodge feel right now. And that until things changed, he'd have to stay at home. Well, he didn't say much, but he went to his room, and I sat out on the porch for a while. Then I heard a noise out back. And when I looked, he was gone.
Well, maybe he's just wandering around somewhere.
No, he's gone.
Well, how do you know?
That arrow point he always wants to tie in his hair. He took that, Marshal.
So?
That isn't all. He took his horse, too. He's gone to join the Cheyenne, Marshal. And you've got to go after him right now.
There was no way to pick up the boy's trail that night. But next morning, Chester and I rode out after him. We tracked him all that day, all the next, southeast into the Gypsum Hills country. The land was different down there, dotted with buttes and cut by narrow, winding canyons. This was ambush country, and ideal for what Colonel Honeyman called a rendezvous point. We traveled slowly, eyes open, ready for trouble. And then finally, the trail led down into a rocky canyon. And at the bottom, we found the boy, crouched over a small fire.
He acts like he's waiting for us, Mr. Dillon.
I wish he'd waited somewhere more open. I don't like being boxed up down here.
I got kind of a spooky feeling, too.
Yeah. All right, let's leave him here, Chester.
All right, sir.
Marshal make long ride. Catch Viho Khan.
Well, you travel fast, son.
White lady send Marshal.
Miss Cullen's mighty worried about you.
Soldier. He worry too?
Now, Colonel Honeyman didn't send me.
He follow?
No, he didn't follow.
Silaho! Niyava!
What's he yelling about?
Look over there, Chester.
Over what? Oh, my goodness. Indians. Oh, there must be 20 of them.
Don't move.
Oh, I ain't about to.
Yeah, they're warriors. Every one of them.
September 24th, 1955, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion follows these messages.
Attention Walmart shoppers. Now you can order one of the most advanced hearing aids on the market for hundreds, not thousands of dollars. Hearing Assist's most advanced product lineup includes models that use an exclusive app for enhanced control over what you want to hear. It's perfect if you have a smartphone or iPhone to hear everything better. And we have 2 great ways for you to get one. You can call the number at the end of this ad and order directly. Or you can call this same number and we will text you a complete list of Walmart Vision Center locations. We make it easy for you to hear better. Remember, call this number today to order and have a text message instantly sent to your phone to find the Walmart Vision Center near you. Here's that special number.
Call 800-360-0597. 800-360-0597. 800-360-0597. That's 800-360-0597.
Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now the conclusion of Gunsmoke, Indian White, from September 24th, 1955.
My name, Little Wolf.
That's the chief Colonel Honeyman said was meeting him in Cheyenne that busted out of Fort Dodge.
Yeah, and the boy knew where they were meeting all the time.
You tell Viho Khan soldiers not follow.
The soldiers are hunting for you, Little Wolf, but they're not with us.
Daish Lai. Naya.
Viho Khan say Little Wolf can believe Marshal.
You can believe me. We came alone. We came to take the boy back home.
Viho Khan no like life with white man.
Well, he'll get used to it. He belongs with his own people, Little Wolf.
Little Wolf say all men free. Viho Khan must make own choice.
He's too young. He doesn't know what's best for him.
If he make mistake, his mistake. Boy never become man. Other people make choice for him.
Little Wolf, this boy's not an Indian. He's white. And if he stays with you and Long Knife, you know what'll happen to him.
He live like Indian.
He'll die like an Indian, too. The soldiers are after you, and sooner or later they'll find you. And when they do, there'll be a big battle, and many of your people will die. Perhaps the boy will die with him.
Viho Khan not afraid.
You're white, Viho Khan. You're not an Indian. This is not your fight.
White people treat Viho Khan bad. Kick, beat, call names. Mrs. Cullen no understand Viho Khan. Nobody understand.
Well, it takes time, Viho Khan.
Boy decide. If want to come with Cheyenne, you no stop.
Now, we'd have a hard time, 2 against 20.
If you fight, we kill you.
Look, son, before you decide, You remember, these Indians are poorly armed. Probably a lot of them are sick. When winter comes, many will die. And the soldiers will get to rest.
Soldier not like Indian. Soldier get tired. Go back. Indian go north. Powder River home. Hunt. Fish again. White people not my people. Fiho Khan stay with Indian.
Fiho Khan decide. Leave now. Maybe someday come back. Great chief.
Not with the army chasing you.
Medicine River, Fiho Khan. The other. Move out.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah. Medicine River, Viho Khan. Medicine River, white boy.
Ain't that where Miss Cullen lost her son?
Yeah.
Then he is her boy after all.
And she didn't recognize him. He must have changed a lot.
You gonna tell her?
No, Chester. No. I'm not gonna tell her.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The special music for Gunsmoke was composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Bill James and Ray Kemper. Featured in the cast were Sammy Ogg, Virginia Gregg, Joseph Kearns, Harry Bartell, John Daner, and Ralph Moody. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty.
September 24th, 1955, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-772-6113. 800-772-6113. 800-772-6113. That's 800-772-6113.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, time to start a brand new Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story. This episode from Seaside, the Meg's Palace Matter. This episode originally broadcast September 24th, 1956, as Johnny heads to Massachusetts.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Johnny, I was afraid you might be away for the weekend.
Who's that?
Byron Kane, Intercoastal, Maritime, and Line.
Oh, hello, By. How are things in Boston?
In Boston, fine. In Cod Harbor, terrible.
Who's this?
Meg McCarthy, who runs an eating place there at the harbor.
Murder, mayhem, arson, or what?
Right now, it's or what. But if you don't do something, and fast, it may be all three. Can you come over and see me?
Now, By?
I know it's Saturday afternoon, Johnny, but this needs fast action. Will you?
By?
Goodbye.
No, By. Listen, you... Dollar, you're a sucker.
Tonight, and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, location Cod Harbor, Massachusetts. To the Intercoastal Maritime and Life Insurance Company. Following is an accounting of expenses incurred during my investigation of the Meg's Palace matter. Expense account item 1, $7.30. Cab from my apartment, train fare and incidentals to Boston. Byron Kane was a good insurance broker, and I figured he wouldn't have called me over a weekend unless it was pretty important.
To get right to the point, Johnny, insurance on the Palace is only for $15,000.
Wait a minute, By. What is this Palace, a fishing boat?
No, it's what Meg McCarthy calls a restaurant, right down on the dock.
Cod Harbor, you say?
That's right.
Well, what seems to be the trouble over there that couldn't wait till after the weekend?
Well, like I told you, this character, Meg McCarthy, runs a so-called restaurant down on the docks, the Palace. I sold her $15,000 insurance on it. And, Johnny, it's quite a place.
What do you mean by that?
We also carry $25,000 straight life insurance on Meg herself. Separate policy, of course.
Which one are you worried about, By?
Both, I think.
Huh?
Matter of fact, the more I think about it, the gladder I am that she didn't fall for my pitch when I tried to get her to increase the coverage on the cafe. If she had, our necks would really be out.
Well, what's the matter? Isn't it worth $15,000 now?
Oh, sure, at least. Even if it doesn't look it. You know, the stoves, equipment, and all that sort of stuff are in the coverage, too.
Then I'm afraid I don't see what
The thing is this, Johnny. Meg has been threatened.
By whom? How?
Who knows? Anyhow, she's notified me that there have been a couple of attempts to set fire to her place. Since she lives upstairs in it, that means danger to her own life, too.
Uh-huh. And the whole $40,000 is at stake.
Yes. Will you go up there right away and see what you can do?
Today?
Tomorrow?
Sunday?
Look, maybe you can get in some fishing. I understand you're quite a fisherman.
Oh, now, the last 3 times I was promised fishing while working on a case, all I did was cut bait.
Proposition. If you don't get in at least a full day's fishing trip while you're up there, I'll double whatever you line up on your expense account.
Sounds mighty tempting.
How about it, Johnny?
Okay, By. You asked for it. Item 2, $11.95, transportation back to Hartford, then on to Cod Harbor the next morning. Fine way to spend a nice warm Sunday. Nice place, too, if you lost your sense of smell. There were 2 or 3 dozen fishing boats of all shapes and sizes tied up at the long dock and piers that comprised the important part of the village. For housing, there was a scattering of weather-beaten shacks, 1 store. Meg's Palace turned out to be the biggest, most disreputable-looking of the dockside eating places, and since there was a closed sign on the front door, I went around to the back.
And I tell you, get off the clean scrub floor of my lovely joint your water is pasty below. I'm sick and tired of looking at that hole.
No, look here, Meg. I just come back to apologize for the
Well, the next time that mangy, scurvy crew of the Lily Ann comes in here and gets drunk and brawls and carries on and busts up me fine glassware and china, to say nothing of a couple of wooden chairs and a fine
listen
table.
to me, darling.
Don't you darling me, you pig-faced squint.
No, Meg, put down the frying pan.
No, sir, not until you get your filthy hide out of here. I'm running a respectable joint, and the likes of you and the ragtail crew of yours have got no place in it. What's more, and furthermore, I won't have you around.
I only come to pay for the damage my boys did last night. Now, look here.
Hey, that's a laugh. Pay for the loss of me dignity, to say nothing of me
Nick,
trade.
little buttercup, please.
Now, get out of here, Willie. Get out.
Well, okay. Here's your money, Meg.
Who wants your dirty, offensible money? Get!
Meg, put down the frying pan.
I'll put it down, Willie boy, if you don't get out here. I'll
Meg,
cover your
Meg,
head.
no.
Get now, before I don't get out. Get out of here, Willie. Keen how you step
Excuse me, Miss McCarthy?
Ain't he a darling? Ain't he the sweetest man you ever did see?
Huh? The man you just threw out of here?
Not only comes in to apologize, but brings the money to pay for the damage his pranking boys done last night when they was celebrating the big catch they made. Lovely bunch of lads they are, too, every one of them. As loyal to Willie Boy. Now, who the devil are you? And what's the big idea of barging in here on a Sunday when anybody with eyes in his stupid head can see that the place is closed up?
Now,
With your eyes so blind in your head you couldn't see the sign out front.
I saw it.
And sneaking in here the back way this way. Who do you think you are?
I wasn't
now,
sneaking.
Get out and leave a lady alone of a Sunday. Go on!
Don't get tough with me, Meg McCarthy.
Huh?
Just put down that pot and shut up for a minute while I tell you why I'm here. Put it down.
Shades of me dear departed overbearing husband, yes, sir. After all, I should have noticed you're a gent standing by the way you done while me and Bill was at its helter and skelter. Oh, but he is a dear one, ain't he?
Yeah, well, at this point, I wouldn't know. But from what I saw a minute ago...
Oh, don't let that fool you, dearie. We're in love, me and Willie boy. Ain't he a living doll?
Meg.
A fine, fine husband he's going to make me, too. That's why I made him the beneficiary of my life insurance policy.
That's exactly what I want to talk to you about.
Then go ahead and talk. What's stopping you standing there like a banty rooster that doesn't know...
Will you shut up?
Oh, well, of course I will, dearie. And I'm begging your humble pardon. But if there's anything I hate, it's a lily-livered man that hasn't...
Meg.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Then listen.
Yes, sir.
My name is Dollar, Johnny Dollar. I'm an insurance investigator.
Insurance investigator, eh? Well, in spite and despite of your pretty clothes and pleasing manner, I don't want any you've already got.
No, you don't understand,
I
Meg.
got all I can have.
I'm
Dollar.
just...
And from the looks of things, these past couple
Will you
of...
shut up a minute?
Of course, dearie. I'm sorry.
You call the insurance company, Mr. Byron Kane, Intercoastal Maritime.
Oh, yes, dear little pasty-faced Byron boy. Why, do you know if he'd had half the guts and get of a he-man, he would have sold me twice the insurance he did?
Well, that's not quite the way he told it to me.
Well, it's the way I'm telling it to you. Oh, what am I going to do, darling, if they wreck my place the way they're trying?
Oh, this Willie boy, as you call him, who was just in here?
That's effeminate.
What?
He's Captain Billy Morgan, Bill to you and any man what calls him
Oh,
Willie.
put it down, will you? And stop yapping your head off and answer my question.
Yes, sir.
Now, is Captain Bill Morgan one of the people you suspect of trying to wreck this ugly-looking hash house?
Oh, I love you, boy. You talk like a real sweet, overbearing man.
Then answer my question.
Well, of course he ain't. Willie boy wouldn't hurt me any more than I'd touch a hair of his pretty head if he had a hair on top of it.
All right, then who?
Johnny boy, there's a dozen of 'em like to see Meg's palace burned to the ground. Blast their black thieving souls.
Why?
Because I give 'em the best and the most food in the harbor. That's what the man gets here. So what happens to the silver plate in Ernie's Manor House and Irving's chop suey joint? Well, I'm putting 'em out of business, that's what.
So you think they're trying to put you out of business?
Think it, I know it. That's why I telephoned that sniveling, lop-eared Byron Kane to send somebody down here and make 'em stop it, before he had to pay off a lot of insurance on it, and maybe even on me. Why else do you think?
There have been some attempts to set the place on fire, I understand.
Why else do you think a lady like myself would take to sleeping on the bar down here every night, getting a creak in me sacred Iliap? But I'm getting sick and fed up with it.
Don't know that I blame you. Now, look, will you...
Trying to keep awake all night every night to keep them from burning it out from under me, and me with it is making a fair shadow of me former self out of me. I'm losing me strength.
But not your aim. Look, while we talk, I'll help you clear up some of this.
Well, the devil you will. It's not the man's job, especially since you ain't romantically inclined towards me.
But you would let Bill Morgan clean up for you, huh?
Well, he was the cause of it, wasn't he? So if he and his boys don't show up before nightfall and take care of it, so help me, I'll keel-haul them every one. Besides, if he's going to be me old man when the fishing season's done, he's got to know how to keep in line. Now.
You say there are people you suspect of trying to fire this building.
3.
All right, 3. Now, who are they? The owners of the other restaurants here on the docks?
Aye. First, there's Clem Harris, what runs the Silver Plate. Oh, and a sly one he is.
Yeah, what do you mean?
He's too soft and polite and soft-spoke. Me, I never trust a man unless he talks up like a man. I guess that's why I like you, dear.
Well, who are the others?
Ernie Turner at the Manor House Cafe.
Oh, yeah. Is that the big place down at the other end?
What? The little hole in the wall next to the bait stand. And half the time the customers don't know whether they're getting bad food or thawed-out bait. And the third one.
Yeah?
That stubborn mule that runs Irving's chop suey joint.
Irving who? What's his last name?
Irving? His name's Tony.
His name... Now, wait a minute, would you please...
Sure. Tony Fortino, Italian.
Then why is it Why a chop suey place?
If anybody has eyes, he would have saw how the sign was changed. First, the Chinese had it with chop suey.
Yeah?
Then came Irving with kosher, so he added his name to it, and now it's Tony.
Well, then why?
Only there wasn't any more room left on the sign, so stop complaining.
Okay, Meg, you win. But have you any specific reason to suspect any one of them?
One of them? I suspect them all, the dirty conniving.
Why?
Because they're a dirty conniving... I'll tell you why. Because they won't sell out to me. Because they all 3 keep open competing with me, and that's 3 against 1, so they're a dirty conniving...
All right, you said that.
Well, aren't they? How would
All right.
Yes, sir. I love it when you speak to me that way, Johnny boy.
So you said. Now, I asked you if you have any specific reason for suspecting any one or all of them.
Well, of course I have, on account of the threats they sent.
How do you know they sent them?
Because I suspect them, that's why. And what happens 3 times they try to set fire to my look.
Meg, you don't have one bit of actual evidence against any of them, do you?
Well,
do you?
No, but I suspect the dirty conniving...
Hold it, please. Are you sure those fires weren't accidental?
Accidental?
Well, with all the dirt and grease you leave around this
In
shack.
the middle of the night with the stove fire banked like I've been doing it for 20 years, and with all the fires starting outside where they have no business. Look, Johnny boy, I'll show you where they started outside.
Well, now, that's a good idea, because so far, I confess I can't get very much alarmed over what's happened.
Don't the whole town know I'm closed on Sundays? Hello, and what kind of a blubber-headed income-poop would be calling Meg's Palace on a Sunday when everybody knows...
I want Johnny Dollar.
Huh? Oh, of course. The gentleman's right here. It's for you, Johnny boy.
Oh? Hello, Johnny Dollar.
We know why you're here, Dollar,
Oh, yeah? Who's we?
but you won't be here long, understand?
Well, now, that's a matter of opinion, isn't it?
Either you go quiet the way you came, or you go in a long wooden box. Get it?
Now, what is it, Johnny boy?
Come on, Meg. Let's get to work.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, well, they say that darkness can cover a multitude of sins. It can also cover a strong man armed with a deadly weapon. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone, who also wrote tonight's story. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
That Meg is some woman, didn't she? From September 24th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We thank you for making us a part of your day. I want to thank Ted for supplying us a lot of our yours truly, Johnny Dollar programs. You can find him at radiomemories.com, radiomemories.com, an easy way to get your classic radio collection going. If you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. You can find our shows on demand at classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream. Stream our shows on demand. Learn more about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can also find a list of podcast sites where you can download our shows if you want to keep them forever and ever and ever. You can also find our social media links. You can contact me, and you can also buy me a coffee. The Buy Me a Coffee money is going toward acquiring additional classic radio collections for shows that we don't have here that you might want to have us to have. ClassicRadio.stream, the webpage. ClassicRadio.stream. Thank this station, support their advertisers, and please tell all your friends. The great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.